Kids Tonight, the show that's just like the English sun. You only see it for an hour, then it's gone for a week. Tonight I'll be joined by comedian Lawrence Mooney, actor Uncle Jack Charles and acclaimed actress and kids singing sensation Justine Clarke. Plus there's musical comedy from Sammy J and a special one-on-one interview with a host of Grand Designs, Kevin McCloud. The thing, though, with this audience is that they are just about as fascinating as the people I'm going to be talking to tonight. Now, there's a couple in particular here by the name of Alexandra Cochrane and Tom Stewart. Where are they? You guys have known each other since you were kids, is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
OK. Since you were what age?
About when she was about 7 and I was about 10.
OK. And if I understand correctly, you had a little business going when you were kids.
We did, that's correct.
Yeah.
We decided to wash cars and walk dogs and have mini fates over at the playground.
And what was the name of your car wash business that was formed by combining your two surnames, Cochrane and Stewart?
We decided to call it Cockstew Car Wash.
Did you not run that by anyone?
Our parents tried to change our minds, but we didn't see what the problem was.
So I now have a picture of you guys as kids going around to doors. Were you knocking on doors?
Yeah, we'd knock on doors and say, "How you going? We're from Cockstew Car Wash. Can you wash your car?"
Now, as ridiculous as that sounds, there are a whole bunch of people whose names, when combined, would make great businesses. For example, Alison Peake and Michael Turvey. Is that you guys up there? OK, you officially are the Pervies. My favourite, by the way, is where's Anthony Humpage? Sitting between the Peaks and the Turveys. Now, with a name like Humpage, Anthony, I would have assumed it's very important to choose the right person to spend the rest of your life with, because when you combine it, you know, Humpage, you don't want to marry Susan Dry. No. What you did was get together with Leah Davis. Yep. Which sounds perfectly innocuous until you realise you are officially the Hump Days. And now that you're sitting actually between the Peaks and the Turveys, but that actually makes you guys the Pervy Hump Days. Now, the other thing I know about you, Michael Turvey, is that apparently you always wanted to do voiceover work because, and I quote, "it sounds good in the shower."
That's correct, yeah.
How about you go out? Harley, can you take Michael to the shower and you can do voiceovers for the rest of the show? Seriously, come on down. You are our voiceover man for the night. Good luck, sir. Michael, just come back for a second. I'll be honest, had I known you were that big, I probably wouldn't have picked on you. All right, let's get on with the show and welcome to the stage the woman who this week cemented her status as the most injury-prone comedian since Michael Palin and A Fish Called Wanda, Hannah Gadsby. All right, I'm going to start by saying this is not a joke, this is not a prop, and this is not something just for the show. Hannah has actually injured herself. Would you like to tell everyone what you've done?
It's safe to say, during last week, I had a go. And I failed.
Basically, Hannah was trying something. She was having a go last week, didn't quite work out, has injured herself, has to wear a brace for a week, but in the middle of all that, went on a date.
Yep. Oh, my Lord. Do you know, it went better than expected.
Really?
Yeah, because I was on Valium. She thought I was a strong, silent type.
And now I guess we should actually have a look at the video of you having a go, the video that led to you injuring your neck.
Yeah, look, ow. What I was doing, I was learning slapstick, the art of slapstick comedy, which means the art of falling over without hurting yourself. I failed. I've come to the Arts Centre in Melbourne to learn the art of slapstick comedy of Owain Arthur, the star of the hit show One Man, Two Governors.
You slapped me. Yes, I did, and I'm glad I did because... oh, hello.
Hello.
Well, the purpose of today is to try and teach Hannah how to do slapstick comedy. It takes a lot of physical energy. So, this is a trunk.
It is.
A part of an actor's job is to pretend that it's heavy.
Why don't you just put heavy shit in there?
Could do. I don't think I've got much hope, to be honest with you. I think she should just... I mean, she's daring, she goes for things, she goes for it, but she doesn't... I think she might have hit her head a bit too much when she was younger, maybe. I think that's taking its toll here. Oh, keep trying. Nearly there. This is a slapstick.
Oh.
This is a sound effect that we use on stage when we hurt each other.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, no, don't.
Punch me just here.
Sort of,
that's it, yeah. Don't have to be that close, but... oh, yeah, a little bit too close. If you just do it round here.
Okay.
There we go. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Oh, wow. Ah! Why don't we do the same with you?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, maybe react the same time as you hit this. Why don't we try that?
Yep.
Right, 1, 2, 3. Oh! Just it.
You still...
Just.
Sound...
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's not quite what we're trying to achieve. No, she's terrible. Has she got a carer? Is there somebody... So falling over is a big part in our show, and this chair is specially made for that. So watch this. Let me show you. I've been doing this show for about a year, and I'm not injured. I never get injured. So we'll do it slowly, yeah, just to begin with. So you ready for this? Pulling your back. Up, up, up.
Now, that's the moment that led to Hannah injuring herself. Do you want to see how it actually played out? Look at that. Hey, who says there's not room for celebrity splash on the ABC? All right. Now, bear in mind, Hannah is relatively okay. And at the time, Owain didn't realise that you had actually injured yourself. Here's how it played out.
Put your chin on your chest, there you go. Oh, 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 oh,
Oh. Ow.
You all right? Did you... Are you okay?
There was a crack, but I seem to be fine.
Did you poo in your pants? Nothing came out.
I haven't added.
Look, I do feel for you. You did have a go and you gave it a crack, but the problem is the whole idea of this segment is that you go off and learn something and then you come back and demonstrate it in the studio. Now, I understand you've injured yourself, but you've actually failed. Oh. You failed. And the whole point is to come back. Do you know what? You've not just let me down, you've let yourself down, you've let the whole production down.
Are you serious?
Hannah lets us all... down. Well, turns out, Hannah, you can do slapstick. We didn't really think this through, did we? Thank you. OK, thank you. Well, that's something you can't do with Bert Newton. All right, it's time to introduce my first guest for the night, and to do that, let's cross to our new voiceover man who reckons he sounds good in the shower, Michael Turvey, who is indeed in the shower.
Adam's first guest tonight is a stalwart of the Australian comedy scene who is currently airing his...
Hold on. Michael, that's good, but it's not quite getting the effect I was hoping for, and I think it's because the shower's not turned on. Harley, can you give us some water, please?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Just a bit of warm.
Okay, now do it.
Adam's first guest tonight is a stalwart of the Australian comedy scene who is currently airing his Dirty Laundry every Thursday on ABC2. He's Australia's favourite agony uncle. He's Lawrence Mooney.
So, Lawrence, you're a new dad.
I am a new dad, that's right. Thank you. Thank you for applauding my insemination.
I'm going to ask the parental thing. How's the sleeping going?
She's an amazing baby.
Right.
Maggie Olive Constance Mooney is her name, and she was a big baby. She was 9 pounds 4, and oh yeah. And so my wife constantly gets questions from other women. So cesarean, she goes no. So splitting, tearing, stitches, she goes no. And I just butt in and goes no. She's got a massive vagina.
Do you know what's hilarious is you're saying all this, Hannah can't look at you disapprovingly, right?
But the baby is sleeping really well, and Lou, my wife, is part of a mother's group.
Yep.
And other mothers don't want to hear that your baby's sleeping well. They don't like it if you're succeeding. All women want women to fail, Adam. How's your neck, Hannah?
And you're a slightly older husband as well, aren't you?
I am. I'm one of those... Well, I'm not greying, because... Well, I've got superior genes, Hannah.
Sorry?
Never mind. Did you get nerve deafness when you fell off that chair?
Should we turn you around a little bit? Because you actually can't join in the conversation.
Do you want to turn around, Nan?
So,
yeah, my wife is 16 years younger than I am.
Right.
And I walk my dog most mornings in the park.
Yep.
His name is Rupert. Oh, Rupert's a little Labradoodle crossed with a Spoodle. And he's very cute. He's a noodle poodle doodle doggy.
Why do grown adults become children when they talk about their pets?
Because that, Adam, is the way you speak to your dog. Otherwise, they won't understand what you're saying to them. Anyway, so I walk him most mornings, and Lou was walking one morning, and I meet other dog owners in the park, and this woman came towards Lou and said, "Oh, Rupert, I know Rupert well. I see your father walking him most mornings."
So listen, the last time I saw you was in London during the Paralympics.
Yes.
You were covering it for ABC and doing a fantastic job.
What a time.
What did you take away from it? Because most people have a moment where they go, this is amazing, this is a beautiful sense of humanity.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I took away from it a great sense of gratitude for having 2 arms and 2 legs and mobility and the ability to see where I'm going. There was one particular experience amongst the thousands that I could go into, and that was walking into the food hall at the Athletes' Village. And the village is fairly tightly controlled. You don't get easy access, and there's only a small window to go in there. And I went into the food hall.
Oh, that doesn't sound wheelchair friendly, does it?
The access is about that big, actually. In the food hall, you have the whole spectrum of disability sitting down to eat. And so you've got people with no arms from China using chopsticks between their toes. You've got a conga line of blinkies, as blind people refer to themselves as, being led by somebody who's sighted. And there was one particular image that really struck me, and it was a boy who I think had got his disability as a result of severe burns.
Yeah.
He lost his arms up to the elbow, and he had severely full-on scar tissue on his face, and he was just a 22-year-old boy sitting down to eat hamburgers. And he had them between his stumps, and he couldn't manage the whole burger, so he had to take it to pieces. So he'd do a bit of bread, a bit of cheese, and a bit of patty, and a bit of pickle, and I was incredibly moved by that, and I thought, yeah, it just helped to equalise the whole thing for me. He's just a boy having a burger.
And did you have any moments in amongst all that when you're on air where you've said something, you've realised what you've said the wrong thing, and there's no way you can get out of it?
Never. Well, a lot of the time, but the Paralympians that I dealt with, and particularly Ali Cole, and I keep going back to this story, was the first Paralympian I had contact with.
Yeah.
And she has a prosthetic leg that she lost her leg due to cancer when she was 2 or 3 years old. Her parents decided to amputate. And what a day that would be for them.
Yeah.
And Paralympian stories are so much about the parent story too. And I said, so what do I call your leg? And she said, you can call it what you like. You know, and I said, can I ask you about it? And she said, yes. You know, what we want is for people to feel relaxed, not avert their gaze.
Do you know what I learned? When you see someone in a wheelchair, smile.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. How often in life do you see someone go past in the wheelchair and you look and you think, oh God, I'm looking, and they look at you and you go, ah, and look away.
Yes.
That person, what that person sees in a wheelchair is someone going, ah!
Yeah.
Like, that's how it comes across. So if you just smile, I smile at people in wheelchairs all the time. I look so creepy.
But don't smile like this. How are you?
The last couple of years have been huge for you with Agony Uncles as well, on top of everything else you've been doing. When I watch you on Agony Uncles, my first thought is, do you have a filter? Because it seems that whatever you think just comes straight out of your mouth.
No, I don't have a filter, you f***ing idiot.
And briefly, we should talk about Dirty Laundry, the series you've got on ABC2, which
Dirty
is
Laundry live.
Live. Completely live TV. No 7-second rule, no pause button.
No dump button, no pause, no... It's not like the radio where they've got 7 seconds to cut out the swearing, because on ABC2, they encourage it. You have to swear.
How do you feel the day after doing a live show? Do you get an adrenaline hangover the next day?
Well, I get a hangover because after we're finished, we go out and drink like pirates. And when I say pirates, because you're just so full of adrenaline. It's like a close sporting victory. You come off and people are hugging, and we all get showered together and wash the mud off.
Just finally, I want to bring up one thing that I only recently found out about you. There is a photo of you in a museum, naked.
There is?
Here in Melbourne.
Yes, in the Melbourne Museum, I'm naked holding my first baby, who is now 13 years old. And how my partner at the time answered an ad, one of those tear-off ads in a cafe for nude models wanted, and she was very heavily pregnant at the time, and we're part of the Life and Body exhibit at the Melbourne Museum. She's the big pregnant one, and then they said when the baby's born, we'd love a photo of Dad holding the baby. But a friend of mine works at the museum doing theatrical pieces for school groups, and he told me that when school groups go through the Mind or the Life and Body exhibit, the kids, particularly primary school children, run around and touch all the genitals and all the boobs, just naturally for a bit of fun, or I don't know why they do. So, and this is quite bizarre, somebody at the Melbourne Museum has the nifty children's fingerprints off my genitals every afternoon.
You're not the only person in the room with a love of nudity, because there is someone in the audience tonight by the name of Craig Coombs, who's just over there. G'day, Craig. Now, Craig has a thing on Facebook and on the internet called Naked Tuesdays, in which Craig uploads naked photos of himself, one every Tuesday. Now, normally I wouldn't point this out. Normally I would think, you know, maybe a bit childish, but there's a specific reason that Craig does this, and I quite love it. What is your reason?
Basically, as you can hear this lovely throat of mine, I've got throat cancer.
Yep.
And I'm basically trying to tell everybody that, hey, it's okay. Do something to get out of your comfort zone and realistically make the rest of your life the best of your life.
So when were you diagnosed?
A year ago.
Yep. And how long did they give you?
12 to 15 months.
Wow. And so you've been uploading... This is your way of laughing in the face of cancer, basically.
at me or with me, yeah.
See, I love this. There's always kind of, you know, let's find a cure for cancer, which is great, and let's fight cancer, which is fantastic. But I also love the aspect of let's just laugh in cancer's face by getting nude on the internet.
Pretty much.
Now, I've got some examples here. Here's one of the first photos. This is Craig and his son in the same pose. Yep, it's hard to know which way your eye should go on that one. Here's a father and son in the same shot.
Jeez, your son's ripped.
Easy, Tiger. And then you've started to get a bit artistic with this one. Now, Craig also has a website at which you can upload a nude photo every Tuesday called nakedtuesday.me. I love this idea. I think this is something I could get behind for a fantastic reason. So, yesterday was Tuesday. I went out with Craig. I'll be honest, I got a little bit carried away. So, is this the first Naked Tuesday you've shot in a professional studio?
Yes.
Now, I don't want to scare you, but I've got some ideas. All right, I've been inspired by your Abbey Road photo. I'm thinking Beatles, I'm thinking iconic, I'm thinking nude. Yes, the John and Yoko shot from the cover of Rolling Stone. This is James, the photographer. Do you reckon we can make this happen?
I think we can do that.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, but which one am I?
Reach out for the kiss. That's it, that's good. Kiss higher on his cheek. Truly beautiful.
Love it, but it's only the beginning. Okay, go with me on this next one. I'm thinking American, I'm thinking Gothic, I'm thinking both of us nude.
Let's do it.
Can you Photoshop, like, out a double chin?
The budget doesn't allow for that, sorry.
All right, we're warming up. This time, I'm thinking childlike, I'm thinking naive, I'm thinking Anne Geddes. I'm gonna need this.
Where am I going to put that?
Good, I like the smile. That's good. Hey, can you just open up your fingers, please, so it's a little soft?
And as for the other hand, just tense slightly. Oh, every time he laughs, it jiggles on my back. All right, we're heading in the right direction, but I want to get one more person involved. Hi, mate, it's Adam. I need a favour.
I'll do it. Maybe we do that yours.
All right, I like where we're heading. I've got one last idea. Something heroic, something patriotic, something masculine. Yes, something that your kids can look at and go, my dad was a hero.
So, flowery headbands or no?
Not this time, comrade. So do you reckon you can make this happen?
I think we can, but there's 4 people.
Move it out. Craig, It is my honour to present this photo to you. Yours, mate.
I tell you what, that brought a tear to his eye, but nothing like when I was behind him. I know how to relax a man, Adam.
A round of applause for Craig Coombs, ladies and gentlemen. We also have a round of applause for Lawrence Mooney.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to introduce our next guest, and let's go back to Michael Turvey in the shower to do the introduction.
Adam's next guest helped establish Australia's first Aboriginal theatre company in 1972 and has gone on to become one of the country's most loved actors. He's currently touring his own one-man show around the nation. Would you please welcome Uncle Jack Charles?
Uncle Jack, welcome to the show. Can I start by asking you the significance of the term uncle in Aboriginal culture? Because I've heard a lot of people called uncle and auntie recently, and I'm never sure when it's appropriate to use it.
It's a term of endearment and acknowledgement of one's dotage, one's experience, and I don't mind being called uncle because I have to rise to the challenge of being, somebody like an uncle who's, somebody that can talk and give advice. But it's nice to the ear, Unc.
I like saying it as well. Yeah. I'd prefer, if it's okay with you, I'd like to refer to you as Uncle Jack tonight.
Oh, it's better than Auntie Jack, eh?
I don't think it works for anyone. I don't feel comfortable calling you Uncle Lawrence.
No.
Why not?
My
He's quite old. Compared to his wife, anyway.
If you're watching Uncle Jack and you're thinking, where have I seen him before? Some of your credits include The Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith, the TV series Woodley and We Can Be Heroes. You were in the first ever colour episode of Bellbird.
Oh, yes, 3 decades ago, here.
Yeah, here in these studios.
In the studios, yeah. I think they wanted to use me to see on their first coloured episode to see what the colour would look like in the coloured episode,
And you were also in the TV series Ben Hall.
The Ben Hall series, yes.
Where, is it true you played a nude scene in that?
No, Justine Justine
Saunders?
Saunders played me missus in it.
Right.
And Don Chafee was the overall director of the series. He'd just come back from Hollywood doing a Disneyland film.
Yeah.
And his idea of an Aboriginal was you had to be really black. So we put black makeup on her and she gets shot. And the direction was that I had to pick her up and take her around to the front and say, look, Ben, look what Frank Gardner's wayward shots did to my missus. I'm going to go after him and that,
Yeah.
And she was too heavy. And she slipped and slid all over me, and that because I was bare-chested,
Yeah.
And her left tit landed in my right eye. So we thought we'd cancel that shot out.
Did you ever learn at acting school how to deal with the tit in the eye?
No. It was a pleasure, though. She was a lovely lady.
Now, you're touring a one-man show at the moment called Jack Charles versus the Crown, which tells your life story, which is an amazing life story. Which
it kind of follows on from Bastardy, doesn't it?
Yes, Bastardy was a documentary that was also made about you.
Yeah.
And now, for people who don't know, you were part of what became known as the Stolen Generation.
That's right,
you were taken from your mother when you were 4 months old.
Yeah.
When did you eventually meet your siblings?
Oh, yeah, well, I met them. I met my brother about a month before I left Box Hill Boys Home.
Yep.
And then when I left, and I've got this in Jack Charles versus the Crown too,
Yeah.
I was fostered out to the Winnow Murphy up in Blackburn. my first opportunity of what it's like living with a family. I'm to call Mrs. Murphy mum and her twin bodgy sons my brothers. I soon realised that Mrs. Murphy's not a religious woman. So Sunday nights I'd sneak out my bedroom window to go to the Methodist service in the Blackburn village. She dragged me out of the church by my ear roll one time, but it never stopped me. I kept on going back to that church mob because they allowed me to join their little social group. And at one time, our little entertainment unit traces on up to the Nuttawading Girls' Home, Win Leighton, to put on a concert. And amongst all the little girls there were these two small, waif-like Aboriginal children. I just had to go up and ask them their names. The elder of the two shyly responds, "I'm Esme, and this here my sister Eva Jo." "Well, what are your last names, ladies?" I inquire. "Charles," she says. "Charles? Well, I'm a Charles too, ladies. Wouldn't it be funny if we were brothers and sisters?" And the irony is, they were.
Wow. So at what age were you at this point?
I was 15.
So was it inevitable for you then that you ended up in foster homes with families you didn't know? Was it inevitable that you would end up either in prison or in a boys' home? Was that always
I
a failed
thought that
experiment?
was the norm. It was the norm because it was the case of when they did shove us out after you're 14, you had to go out. You left the home.
Right.
And so, and of course there was no counselling in those days.
So you had 14 to make your own way?
You had to make your own way. So all that abuse that one copped in Box Hill Boys' Home, you know, continues as you go out because nobody's floating the idea that it ain't really good.
Yeah. So it's hardly surprising then you end up in a life of cat burglary.
Yeah. Well, when I failed my foster mum, my boss bailed me out of the home, the lock-up.
Yeah.
And then I started to mix with other older lads from Box Hill Boys' Home, and of course one of them taught me how to do my first burg in Hawthorne. Yeah.
And then, so that was your area, wasn't it? Kind of South Yarra, Baldwin, Hawthorne area.
Yeah, now the irony is, you know, I get to discover from Jimmy Berg's The Koori Heritage Trust Mob, you know, my family tree and my circumstances, my mother's country. And it's Boonwurrung country, and it happens to take in from St Kilda, Melbourne, through Toorak, South Yarra, and Kew. And you know, so there's no, it's not such a mere bald statement in varsity when I say I'm comfortable in Kew. You know, working the night shift, they're collecting rent in my mum's land. And of course, you know, when you're addicted, justifications can roll glibly off your tongues, and they're so easily. You know?
Was it thrilling though? Breaking into somebody's house?
No, it was pretty scary.
Right.
Yes, it's pretty scary.
Is it weird now, because now you're doing this show, you know, the audiences that you know, in the areas that you did your burglary.
They're coming to see the show. People that I've robbed. Oh, Mr. Charles, can we speak to you? Oh, yeah, love, what do you want to... Well, Mr. Charles, we lived in a very big house up in Camberwell many years ago. We don't live there now, mind, but... we were robbed, and we were just wondering. And CIU...
where's the candelabra?
And look, you also, I know this, you do visit prisons and you take your role quite seriously now as an elder and what you can impart to the younger, not just Aboriginal youth, but younger youth generally, don't you?
Anybody, both black and white. You know, my life's an open book.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been striving to do, is to return to prisons, to share the journey and say there is life, and have a look at me, look at me, look at me. There is life beyond drugs and alcohol and crime time, jail time.
And in the show that you're touring at the moment is Jack Charles versus the Crown. It talks about your battles with bureaucracy, of which there have been a few.
Oh, yes.
One of which involved you not being allowed into England, is that right?
Yeah. But I did get over to the mother country.
Right.
Eventually. But they did knock me back.
And I think some would point out the inherent irony of the English not allowing someone in because of a criminal record.
Well, you know, yeah.
And now the final bit of bureaucracy that you've been battling, and this kind of staggers my mind as well. Let me get this right. You applied for Indigenous funding for a book that you wanted to write.
Picture coffee book.
Yes.
A table book that Amy L. Corton and I want to do.
But you were asked, in order to get that funding, you had to prove that you were an Aboriginal person.
Yes.
Yes.
This is because there's this fear that there are so many white people out there wanting to go into the Aboriginal Arts Board and get dedicated Aboriginal funding for the arts, claiming to be white. You know?
We've all done
There's
it.
thousands of them. So I have forced a review of this insidious policy.
Yeah.
It needs to be reviewed.
See, because I actually wrote a letter on your behalf during the week.
Did you?
Because I thought, you know what, the only way to battle bullshit is with bullshit.
Ah, yeah, well...
OK, bear with me. I will send this off with your approval.
Oh, yeah, I'll sign it.
OK. Awesome.
I'll countersign it.
I'll sign it too.
To whom it may concern, I'm writing to you regarding the case of Uncle Jack Charles, a case in which I feel there are extenuating circumstances. I don't entirely know what that means, but I know it sounds good in a letter. Although it's true he doesn't have immediate proof of his heritage, I'm guessing this is due to the fact that when he was taken from his mother at the age of 4 months, he didn't have the presence of mind to request a printed copy of a family tree. While I do understand these rules are to prevent white people from rorting the system, do you really think there's a chance that the man sitting next to me is actually a white fella who's grown an afro, coloured his skin and invented a story of forcible separation from his family just to get some quick cash?
Wow. Well, you can never be too sure, Adam.
The chances of that are so slim, even Tom Waterhouse won't go near them. And besides, he's an experienced cat burglar. If he really wanted to take your money unlawfully, he would have snuck into your house while you were asleep, nicked your laptop and had a nap in your Volvo. In summation, my point is this. Occasionally common sense must take precedence over bureaucracy, and I feel that this is one of those instances. To quote a great Australian, it's the vibe, it's Marbo, it's just the vibe, Your Honour. Yours sincerely, Adam Hills. Would you like to sign that?
I'd sign that.
Uncle Jack, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Jack Charles versus the Crown is touring Australia at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Jack Charles. It's time for some music now. Let's cross back to Michael Turvey in the shower to introduce tonight's musical act.
Tonight's musical guest is one of the funniest men in Australia. He's also one of the skinniest. In fact, if he was in the shower with me right now, he'd have to run around to get wet. Please welcome Sammy J.
When Grandma died, my father drove us to her house to clean it up and sort possessions into piles, things to keep and things to chuck away. And Saturday became a whole weekend as we would stop to read her letters, look at photos like we were getting to know her. And I can't help but feel that my grandkids won't treat me with such respect when I go. There'll be no box of photo albums to collect, just a hard drive full of folders, and in the folders there'll be files, and if they double-click those files they'll see me. But there'll be no heavy lifting, so there'll be no nostalgic sifting through my life, 'cause I can see now, when my life is completed, I'll be deleted. Click one button, there goes Grandad, now it's time for brunch. Every email sent, every iCal event. But future grandkids, give me a chance. Just treat that hard drive like my house, and walk in through the door. Watch your step, the desktop's messy, and my junk's all on the floor. But keep on going to the study, then in the bottom drawer you'll find pictures that tell my story, like the one of me and Heath in France, with a croissant in my pants that looks like a penis. Good times. Or the one of me and Hannah in Mildura, sitting inside a fiberglass orange and trying not to laugh, 'cause the guy who built the fiberglass orange was taking the photo for us. And he seemed so proud and we felt so bad, 'cause up until the moment it approached us, we'd been standing there taking the piss, 'cause it looked nothing like an orange. Yeah, we thought it was an armadillo. Okay, I confess, you had to be there, and to you it might seem boring, but I guess I still thought 20 gig of JPEGs were worth storing. But because they're not collated in an album laminated to protect the tears that fall, will there be any tears at all? And grandkids, I know you can hear me now, 'cause I'm giving this song to my lawyer to play to you when you ask about my will. 'Cause you won't get anything until you've opened every file, and that could take a while, because my iTunes library will bear witness to my flagrant disregard for copyright. And the toolbar at the bottom indicates that it'll take you 16 days to get through all my random songs, like Do the Bartman and the instrumental album that's inspired by the music from The Lion King. It's not actually the music from The Lion King, just inspired by it. I don't know why I bought it, I never listened to it, but I hope that you enjoy it. And that song, Tub Thumping, by that band Chumbawamba, yeah, that's the sort of crap your granddad liked when he was younger. He synced it to his iPhone, like all his generation, long before they started dying out from iPhone radiation. Oh, I just remembered, if you come across a folder marked Home Movies, best avoid that. Your grandma and I were young, and that led to you. So show some respect, don't eject me, no, and please don't press delete.
He also has a CD available called Skinny Man Modern World. Details at sammy-j.com. Another round of applause for Sammy J. Now, the TV show Grand Designs, in which ordinary punters attempt extraordinary feats of architecture, has spawned a cult following worldwide. In fact, of all the people I've had the pleasure of interviewing, more of my friends were excited by Kevin McCloud than anyone else. Here's what happened when we sat down for a chat. Kevin McCloud, a pleasure to meet you.
And you.
Grand Designs, you've done over 100 episodes. So why do you think Grand Designs is such a popular show generally?
I think it is to do with the sort of the stories. You know, it's going to go. My first producer, he used to say it right at the beginning. He used to say to everybody, "Of course, yeah, Grand Design, it's all about the people." I say, "No, it's not, John. It's about the architecture." And then after about a year, he would say, "Grand Design is all about the architecture." I said, "No, John, it's about the people."
When you're making an episode of Grand Designs, how do you decide when to step in and avert a disaster and when to stand back and let it...
Never.
Really?
No, just watch it unfold. Arse around in the background and watch it unfold.
And stir up a little bit as well.
Stir up a little bit, be a bit of telly fluff. It's a great job I have.
How do you know how far to go when you're needling? Because you seem to be able to push it right to the right point.
I'll tell you the secret. Okay, so when people are on this journey, this kind of mad, amazing, self-fueled adventure, they think they can build a house, and they think it's going to come in on budget, on time, it's going to be beautiful, and they're absolutely convinced of this, utterly righteous. You can say anything to them. Animal vivisectionist, Nazi, and they'll say, "Yes, but that's not important. What's important is, you can say anything to them, and they will just brush it off." So I've discovered I can be as rude as I like.
Have you ever had anywhere, like there's a couple and the relationship isn't going particularly well and you're right in the middle of it all?
Yeah, well, sometimes you watch the relationship unfold, actually, and there was one epic moment where we turned up and we walked into the house, and the house is perfect and beautiful and finished, and there was the husband stood in the kitchen, and he just said, "She's left me." And we spent, John and I, the producer, we spent the whole day at his mother-in-law's up the road, like 5 miles away, with his wife screaming, sobbing, and him, the other side, and at one point she started throwing things at him across the kitchen. And we were there, and we were just pleading, saying, "Please, would you help us make this film? We don't really care about your marriage, we don't really care what happens afterwards, but would you just help us make this film, just for today?" It only happened once. Right. And obviously, no names, no pectoral, Yeah. And they may still be together, bless them. I don't know. But I know they did patch it up afterwards, but it was a kind of bit of a hairy moment then.
Well, here's another question that I wanted to ask, because a lot of people were asking questions that they'd like me to pass on. Yeah. And the majority of questions revolved around this. Why do so many women fall pregnant during the filming?
Obviously.
Followed up by Anna,
it's my potent personality.
Well, yeah, Anna then said, "Oh my God, is it him doing it?"
Yeah. It suggests a sort of degree of lack of both discretion and discrimination on my part, wouldn't it, if they just all got pregnant? It's the same old problem. It's the fact that in nature, animals, birds, find somewhere to build the nest, then feather it, then lay the eggs. Yeah? Right. In that order. Humans completely screw it up. Do everything in the wrong order.
This is something that was sent in by a man called Ferret, so I'm assuming it came from Australia.
Yeah.
Were you aware there's a Grand Designs drinking game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Not only is there a Grand Designs drinking game, but we actually have produced an episode of Grand Designs built and edited around the drinking game. So you've got to spot which one it is.
Right.
So it's like every time I use the word integrity, it's like, it's a chaser. Every time the woman falls pregnant, it's 2 pints.
Bespoke? Is there anything for bespoke?
Yeah, bespoke.
Really? Yeah. I have one more thing. It was suggested that this interview, to be, entirely appropriate, it should go for about 3 years, and at the very end you should do a piece to camera about how you didn't think it was going to go well, but it turned out better than you imagined. Would you mind finishing to camera with a patented Kevin McCloud monologue?
I'd mind very much. Yeah. Well, the foundations for this interview were never that rock solid. The process whereby it was carried out and built were at times adventurous and, for that matter, technologically challenging, but at the same time bespoke, integrity, and bifold doors go out and through.
Kevin McCloud, thank you very much.
That's a great pleasure. That's the deal.
Time for our final guest tonight, Michael Turvey in the shower. Take it away.
Adam's final guest tonight has gone from being an entertaining 7-year-old in biscuit commercials to entertaining 7-year-olds on Play School. In between, she's built a career as one of Australia's most accomplished actors. Please give it up for Justine Clarke.
Now, you have worked with pretty much everyone on the couch, have you not?
Pretty much, except for Hannah, yeah.
That could end badly.
Apparently.
I was Big Ted for a few years.
Now, a lot of people will remember you from Mad Max. That was one of your first big film roles when you were 13 years old?
Yeah, so I turned 13 during the shooting of the show. It went on forever. It was a 6-month shoot, incredibly... massive budget for the time.
And what's it like being a 13-year-old in the middle of that?
Pretty amazing. Pretty incredible, actually. I mean, apart from the fact you get 6 months off school.
Sweet.
Yeah, which was pretty great. We did months of workshops before we started filming, where we didn't even know what project we were doing. We were just all working together as a tribe.
Right.
To sort of learn how to be a big family. And one day... this guy came in with a beard and sat down with us, and I remember just nudging my friend going, "Hey, I think that's Mel Gibson." Because he'd just done The Bounty, so he had a beard, so I wasn't sure, but and then eventually they said, "And this is Mel." And we
so it's Tina Turner.
Yeah. That was pretty good too, I got to say. But yeah, there he was.
And what was Mel Gibson like to work with?
Funny you say that, because he lived in Bondi and I lived in Paddington, so sometimes we'd get picked up to go to set together.
Yeah.
And then driven home, and he would just drink the BB just at... So it's kind of close. But that was the time. It's funny because he's,
Some things never change.
That was back in the day when you could drive a 13-year-old home while drinking VBs. You know what I mean? You could make anti-Semitic statements to police. It was a different time.
It was a simpler time, Adam.
So there's that to be remembered for. There's also Home and Away. in which you played Roo.
Yeah.
My favourite bit of all of the things you did in Home and Away, though, was a live tour of Home and Away, the musical, around the UK. I know.
Baby, we belong together.
Yeah, that was the highlight of the show. It happened just towards the end when Frank and Roo had broken up.
So how old were you at this point?
About 19. So I'd left the show, but
Right.
but it was sort of an opportunity, you know, not to be missed. We toured all through the UK. It was, you know, on a tour bus, and it was really fun. But it was the worst show in the history of the world.
Do you remember some of the songs apart from the theme? Like, did they write new songs just for this musical?
Yeah, they wrote a whole musical, so there were probably 12 songs or something. The opening number was quite exciting. There was a sort of a wave with the band, you know, in the wave, and then smoke machines, and we all stood on stage, and the curtain would come up, and the spotlights would come down with this kind of trumpet music going, ba 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 ba, and there'd be Roo standing in the spotlight, and do 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 do, it's Carly, do 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 do, and you know, most of the time people were clapping. Sometimes they were just laughing. And then the dancers would come out. So the dancers would come out and they'd sing, I can't remember the opening, but I know the chorus went, Summer Bay, we love it, here to stay, we like it. Summer Bay belongs to you. Summer Bay is where you'll want to stay.
Oh, amazing. Now, the new show that you're in, The Time of Our Lives, can you describe it? It's coming out on the ABC in a couple of weeks' time, I believe.
Yeah, so after Paper Giants, it comes out on Sunday nights. It's a family drama.
Right.
They're a big blended family. It's contemporary Australia. They live in, you know, inner city Melbourne. They're a loving and supportive family.
Your character in this, your character is married to Shane Jacobson's character.
Yes.
Okay. I just don't find that believable. We have a scene from The Time of Our Lives.
Yes.
It's with you and Shane. Can you set it up for us, please?
So, yeah, as I said, they're a very loving couple. There's a bit in it, I think, about he thinks he's a bit of a handyman, Luch. He likes to, you know, knock walls out and then figure out how he's going to patch it up later. But really, it's just a little portrait of a happy couple, I think, and a supportive couple.
Here it is.
You are a great dad and a fantastic partner. And I'm lucky to have you. We all are. I mean it. I'm proud to be with you.
Thank you.
You should paint that wall.
Go to bed. So the other thing, of course, you're known for is the kids' TV, and not just Play School. And see, there must be a look that parents give you, not only of, oh my God, you're off the telly, but thank you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful part of the job, actually, because a lot of it is people giving me thanks, which is really nice. Because I only did it once, you know, but you guys have to watch it all the time.
Look, I'm going to show just a little bit of it so that people, might know Justine for everything else, but this is what she does that makes parents so happy.
Watermelon, watermelon, I love you, love watermelon. Great big bite, catch all the drips, spit out the pips, lick your lips. Watermelon, watermelon, I love you, love watermelon.
So you now do, and people won't know, like, what size audiences do you play to when you tour the kids' shows now?
About 2 foot.
Sorry?
2 foot.
How many people come and see you at each show?
I played the Opera House last year and the year before, so at the concert hall, so 2,000 people. But we do 3 shows a day, so 6,000 people in a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've got video footage of at home of my daughter seeing you. I think it was at the Perth Zoo recently with the Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, that was
and she is screaming like you are the Beatles, and she's at shape. I swear to God, my daughter at 3 is just going, "Watermelon! Watermelon!" Have you ever been spotted on the street with your kids when you're having a parental moment, a bad parenting day, shall we say? Things aren't going well and people suddenly recognise you as the lady off the telly?
Yeah, I think so. I actually think that's probably when they don't come up and say hello. Because I don't know, but whenever I used to take my kids to the pool, I could never get them out. You know, I'd take them for their lesson or whatever, and then I'd say, OK, we've got to go now, it's time to go. And they'd be like, hey, no, this is great, we're not getting out. And OK, but really, we really have to go, we really have to... OK, listen, if you don't get out of that pool right now, and I'd be like that, and then I'd see someone out of the corner of my eye maybe coming up with their child, and then just slowly walking.
The time of our lives starts 16th of June on ABC 1. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Justine Clarke. And a round of applause for all my guests tonight. Uncle Jack Charles, Lawrence Mooney, Kevin McCloud, and Sammy J. And of course the Inspector Clouseau of the ABC, Hannah Gadsby. And not forgetting our rather damp voiceover guy, Michael Turvey. We'd like to leave you tonight with some of the outtakes of Naked Tuesday, because you won't be surprised to know that with Lawrence Mooney, myself and a couple of other blokes nude, we didn't take any of it seriously. Thanks for watching Adam Hills Tonight. See you next week.
Your left knee up higher. That's it.
Great to see you. Are we making a porno?
Yeah, we are. Now, we've got a little reach issue. Can you reach his face? That's it. You can reach his face. That's good.
I really didn't think I'd be the one to say this, but technically in the photo, isn't he kissing her?
Yes.
Yeah, OK. Good day.
We'll save that for... OK, I think that's good. Here we go. Do a shot. That's lovely.
Just want him to wander around.
Okay.
It was the dog.
That's nice. OK, Craig, you're just getting lost your flower a little bit. I don't know whether you've moved...
I can do a shot.
Yeah, sir.
Not in this man's army, mister.
Sharon! I snorted too many lines of ants when I was younger.
Have a wide shot, please.
If this was a movie, it would be Brokeback Moran.